Of welcoming you all to this 13th Convocation Ceremony 2021. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, as the words said by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Yes, education is important for social development and economic growth of the nation. Education helps us to develop human personality, thoughts, and prepares people for life experiences. Keeping in view of the global growing aspiration, management education is being provided with a focus to grow entrepreneurs. Management education will give and teach all the things essentials to be a good manager and skills that are important to augment the efficiency and productivity of the organization. Imbibing entrepreneurial skills in the business management students will develop an entrepreneurial culture in the country. One such an institution which is enhancing the students in developing their entrepreneurial skills is ICBM SBE, Institute of Computers and Business Management, a school of business excellence. As rightly the word said by Lao Tzu, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Yes, ICBM SBE has started its first step in 1989 with the mission of developing budding managers with the right blend of management education, personality, and interpersonal skills by inculcating ethical values to be the highest order to meet the global standards. The institute has a 30 plus years legacy of academic excellence and is a premium management institute in the Hyderabad. The institute is approved by statutory authorities AICTE, AMBA, AACSB, ACBSP, AMDICA, and NAD. And the institute is backed by a team of expert faculty members who are expertise in management industry. We nurture a holistic value-based, unparalleled management education with a transformative pedagogic practices which helps to develop future management leaders with a strong sense of responsibility and ethics. Yes, we proudly say that we are achieving that. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, now I take a chance of inviting our Director Principal, Professor Shamsuddin Jara sir, to please be on to the dais. Thank you, sir. Now I cordially invite our President of today's Convocation Ceremony, our Chief Guest, Mrs. Tejdeep Kaur Meenman, to be on to the dais. I call Ms. Sanjusha to welcome ma'am with a bouquet. Next, I would like to invite Mrs. Sureka to please introduce the chief guest.
Good morning, respected dignitaries on the dais, respected faculty members, staff, and my dear students. I'm here to introduce a woman who is famous, that she barely needs an introduction. A lady with words, skills, intelligence, talent, and charm, a highly reputed, highly enthusiastic, and very dynamic hero who truly deserves the superlatives used. A woman whose achievements so far have no bounds and I'm sure are still growing, out of which only few of which I can refer today on the dais due to the time constraint. Ladies and gentlemen, please let me introduce Mrs. Tejdeep Kaur Meenan ma'am, a poet by passion, a police officer by profession, and a wildlife lover at all times. Madam Tejdeep Kaur was enlisted to the Indian Police Service in 1983. Since then, she has served in different capacities, beginning as an assistant superintendent of police and retired as Director General of Police heading the Telangana Special Protection Force. As a police officer, she has several achievements. To name few, she was the first woman officer to be the DIG of police of a range in Andhra Pradesh. Highly praised by a two-judge bench of Andhra Pradesh High Court in their judgment on the rescue of 65 women who were forced into prostitution that directed the state police chief to implement her recommendations. Commended by the Andhra Pradesh High Court for introducing and effectively implementing the rules of wearing helmet for two-wheeler riders by using innovative persuasive methods rather than coercion. Speaking about her passion in poetry, she has published 4 anthologies as far and has written numerous other poems on women empowerment, conservation of nature, and protection of its biodiversity. Some of her achievements here are inspired by 3 of her poems, What About Me in 1999, An Easel Called Life 2002, and Porous Earth in 2015. Dancers have transformed them into theoretical dance productions. While the first 2 were put on board by Bharatanatyam dance use Ananda Shekhar, the third is a choreographed presentation by the veteran and accomplished Bharatanatyam exponent Hema Malini Erni. The Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, has included her poem on work-life balance. I am the best as a part of book New Paradigm of Gender Inclusivity, Theory and Best Practices. Also, ma'am is deeply involved in conservation and rejuvenation of water bodies and forest areas. Under her leadership, the TSSPF has adopted Aminpur Lake, Fox Sagar and Anantagiri Reserve Forest and initiated measures to ensure they remain as bird sanctuaries without being lost to urbanization. She was declared as an Earth Hero and presented with its Sanctuary Wild Under the Wings awarded by Sanctuary Asia in December 2016. The award is given for distinguished work in spearheading exceptional initiatives to clean, rejuvenate and protect urban water bodies. She is also the inaugural president of Telangana Sikh Society, which has a wide social outreach and make interventions to attend to the health and education needs of the poor in Telangana. We are highly honored to have you here, ma'am. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite on the dais our guest of honor, the Padma Shri awardee, the Olympic medal winner, Mr. Gagan Narang, sir. Please welcome, sir. I request student volunteer to felicitate, sir. Now I request my colleague Manisha to take over the ice.
Good morning, dear ladies and gentlemen. I am Manisha. It's a great privilege to introduce our guest of honor, an international icon who merely required any introduction. He is well known, one of the world's top shooter, Olympic medalist, and supported by Olympic Gold Quest, popularly known as the 600 Express, Mr. Gagan Narang. Before talking much about sir, I want to recall the statement told by him. When kids of my age were picking up toy car, I used to buy toy gun. When he was just 2 years old, he shot a balloon with toy gun. That was a sign of great things to follow, and yes, he did. From toy gun to real rifle, the transition was quite extraordinary. I must let you know, the sir is extraordinary rifle shooter. He conferred with Padma Shri Award in 2011 and also conferred by President of India, Pratibha Patil, for the prestigious Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award, which is the highest sports award in our country. He is the first Indian shooter who registered for the London Olympics in 2012. And there he clinched bronze in the 10-meter air rifle event and with it became India's first medal winner at the 2012 game. He was invited by the organizer of the Indian Grand Prix to wave the checkered flag in 2012 Indian Grand Prix. Mr. Narang led the Indian contingent at Commonwealth Games closing and Asian Games opening ceremonies. He was the first Indian to grab gold medalist in Afro-Asian Games in 2003 and also received Arjuna Award in 2005. He had won an air rifle gold medal at the World Cup 2006 and followed that in April 2010. The 2006 Commonwealth Game was very special for Sir with a staggering tally of 4 gold medals followed in 2010 with winning 4 gold medals each in 2006-2010 Commonwealth Game. He held a rare records of winning 4 shooting medals in successive Commonwealth Game events. He also won the top honor at the 2008 World Cup in China. Sir had won 5 medals in different ISSF World Cup, including 3 medals in 2009, 1 in 2008 and 1 in 2006, and 2 bronze medals in 2008 and 2009. He shot a perfect 60 by 60 in the 10-meter air rifle event to set a world record during the World Cup in Bangkok 2008. He won a silver medal and bronze medal in 10-meter air rifle bronze and 50 meters rifle, 3 positions respectively at 2014 Commonwealth Game. He is one of the few sportspersons to have represented the country in Rio Games 2016. Also, he qualified for 2020 Tokyo Games, now postponed to 2021. Now we can understood why people used to say him one of the top rifle shooter in the world and the 600 Express. His intense desire to giving back to the society, to the system that resulted in Gun for Glory to the life. He runs the Gun for Glory shooting academy under the Gagan Narang Sports Promotion Foundation. His Gun for Glory academy was moved in the direction spreads across the country. It provides top-notch facility, shooting ranges, equipments, and training for the nation's next generation of shooters. A 4-time Olympic with multiple world record titles, he has done much to make the India proud on global stage. On behalf of ICBM family, I welcome you, sir, on the 13th convocation. We are honored to have you. Now, I would like to call a versatile, dynamic personality who actively involved in industry as well as academic activity and always keen to learn new things, Mr. Srikant Surampudi, sir, Regional HR Head, TCS. I request the students volunteer to welcome sir with the bouquet. Now I would like to call my faculty colleague Dr. Radha Kiranmai to introduce sir.
Thank you, Manisha ma'am. Good morning, respected dignitaries on the dais of the stage, dear faculty members, staff, and my dear students. I am Dr. Radha Kiranmai, Associate Professor at ICBM School of Business Excellence. It is my indeed pleasure to introduce our guest of honor, Mr. Srikant Surampudi, General Manager and Regional Head HR, TCS Hyderabad. Sir is actively engaged in both industry and academic fronts. He is a person who entrusts and encourages the human aspect of every resource in the organization and is a continuous learner. Mr. Srikant, sir, has over 26 years of industry experience in human resources, operations, and marketing, and has been with TCS for at least last 16 years. Currently, he is the General Manager in Human Resources Department at TCS and is playing two key roles, namely HR Head for the Healthcare Unit across TCS and Regional Head of HR for TCS Hyderabad. He is responsible for the welfare of over 50,000 associates based in this region. Prior to this, he was heading HR for the initial learning program across TCS, where he was responsible for the value-based induction of about 30,000 plus trainees every year. His earlier roles in TCS included being a part of talent engagement and talent acquisition groups. Apart from the above, he has been a chair at various seminars and conferences across the country. Also, he is an active member of academic advisory boards and governing councils for multiple engineering colleges, management institutes, and universities. He is an executive committee member of CII HR panel, NHRD network, vice president Hyderabad chapter, NYSEA HR and CSR forums, and member of NASCOM D&I and HR panel. We are highly privileged to have you here, sir. Thank you so much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite on the dais our next guest of honor, Mr. Amit Shah, Assistant Director of Toshiba Air Conditioners. Please welcome, sir. Please welcome him with a huge round of applause. I welcome you on the dais, sir. Now, I request the student volunteer to felicitate Mr. Amit Shah with a bouquet of flowers. Now, I request my colleague, Professor Gayatri, to introduce Mr. Amit Shah. Thank you so much.
Mr. Amit Shah is an MBA graduate and is highly skillful in managing teams to work and is an efficient communicator with an excellent interpersonal skills and in relationship management skills. And presently he is working with an Career Air Conditioning and Refrigeration Limited as an assistant director, and his core competences are brand management, client serving, commercial operations, and team management. And we are happy to have you here, sir. And we're proud to say that he is an alumni of ICBM SPE. Darkness can't drive the darkness, only light can do it. We'll have a traditional auspicious lamp lighting ceremony as a tribute to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. So I request all the guests to have an lighting the lamp.
दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापं सन्ध्यादीपनमोऽस्तुते ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं
I request all to
ज्योतिषां
rise.
प्रभुरव्ययः आरोग्यं देहि पुत्रांश्च पतिं स्वच्छां हि मे सदा रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् यस्य तिष्ठे गृहे दीपः तस्य नास्ति दरिद्रता शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि वसिष्ठवामदेवादिवन्दितमहागणपतिम् महादेवसुतं महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं मारकोटिप्रकाशं शास्तं मारकोटिप्रकाशं शान्तं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियम् महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूषिकवाहनमोदकप्रियं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूषिकवाहनमोदकप्रियं महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि वसिष्ठवामदेवादिवन्दितमहागणपतिम् Thank you.
Now I would like to invite Professor Shamsuddin Zarat sir, Director and Principal of ICBM, to address the gathering.
Honorable Chief Guest of the Day, Mrs. Tejdeep Kaur Menon Ma'am, Shri Gagan Naranji, Guest of Honor, Shrikant Surumpudi ji, Guest of Honor, and Amit Shah, Guest of Honor. It gives me a proud privilege to welcome such a wonderful and illustrious dais. And the students are really lucky. They are getting the best from different worlds, like from protection of the nation to elevating the nation to the different heights, from grooming the nation builders and being a nation builder himself. So all the four are there on the dais. So it gives a proud feeling, like literally I'm having goosebumps sharing the dais with such an illustrious dais there. Now, convocations come and go, but this year we are witnessing a unique convocation. Like we have all weathered the storm, still we are fighting, still we are on the verge of victory. We have overcome a big pandemic which was staring in our eyes. Now literally it is going away. Now because of that, we were apprehensive whether we'll have this convocation this year or the students will get deprived. In fact, we had experienced the pain of our own daughter not getting her convocation. So we thought, why not see this convocation from our eyes and see to it, these are again our children. They'll have a wonderful convocation, and I'm again thankful and grateful to this audience, I mean the guests on the dais, for making it happen today and happen in style. Thanks a lot once again. And the outgoing batch students, you are the stars. You have made us proud. 2 years, what you have given to us, I don't think so. Our faculty, our team, we have not let you down. We have given you the best of the best which is available in the academic world. And that's a proven fact that all of you are now donning colors of great organizations across the country. You are all doing wonders in your corporate life. So which gives us a good feeling, yes, we are contributing something back to the nation. Always keep it in your mind, do your best, never compromise on your values, never compromise on the grooming what you had got at ICBM. Because we strongly believe if you have a strong value system, you will definitely emerge successful. Now, without being a hindrance to the illustrious chief guest and the other guest of honors, I once again expect you all to rise above the normal and bring many more laurels to yourself, not only to yourself, to the organization and to the nation. Wishing you all the best for your future. Thanks a lot. God bless you all.
मेरे मंच पे उपस्थित अतिथिगण अमित जी और श्रीकांत जी and Zarar sir. Not too long ago, I was also a student like you. I think it's a long time ago, in 2003 actually. And I was also attending a few convocations like this. Then I was doing my bachelor's in Bhavans College in Sainikpuri. Just a small incident. Well, I have many incidents, but it'll take till evening for me to narrate all of them. But I'll be very short. So in my first year, I was just finished my 11th and 12th, and then got into graduation. I had taken computer science, and I had gone for a competition. And because I had gone for a competition, I skipped almost 30 days. And when I was back in class, I was completely lost, and I didn't know what to do. So then I changed my course and then came into BCA. And after that, I used to sit in the first year because third year was getting a passing out convocation. And everybody was getting silver medals and gold medals, and I was wondering कि असली gold medal तो मैं जीत रहा हूँ, यहाँ पे इनको gold medal मिल रहे हैं ये क्या चक्कर है. तो उस टाइम पे मैं काफ़ी उदास भी था, बट उस टाइम पे काफ़ी एक अंदर से ना आग सी जली कि भाई कुछ करना है. तो इन 2002 आई हैड माई Afro Asian Games, and I won a silver medal in Afro Asian Games, and then when I had my second year, because third year was passing out, so at the end of all the gold medals, I got a silver medal कि भाई स्पोर्ट्स में कुछ आपने किया है. So it was quite an interesting moment. Then I said कि यार सबके बाद मिल रहा है, ये कोई चक्कर, ये ठीक नहीं है, तो कुछ और करना चाहिए बड़ा. So then in 2003 I had my first major international competition, which was Afro Asian Games, and I won the medal. It was the first gold medal. You must have heard and seen the picture on the screen. And so then I kind of, when I was passing out, so I kind of arrived a little late, as Hyderabadis all do, to the convocation. And one teacher stopped me at the gate, and she was like, "Where are you? Why are you late? Where are you going? What is your name? You can't attend." I said, "Ma'am, I'm Gagan Narang." So she's like, "You can't be Gagan Narang. वो तो college आता ही नहीं है." So no, ma'am, I am only Gagan Narang. मेरे को जाने दो, please. So then finally she kind of believed me, and I went to the convocation, and to my surprise, my name was the first to be announced that year. So that was, yeah, you can clap. So that was something that kind of motivated me in 2001. So what I want to say here is not how I progressed, but also how we find small motivations in our lives. And as students, you're all called here to listen to all of us, but you should not only listen to everyone's experience here, but also apply in your daily lives in whatever little way you can. Today you have a saying that when life throws lemons at you, what do you make? So आज आपको लेमन जूस नहीं ऑरेंज जूस भी बनाना है, ठीक है? So you are expected to do what you are supposed to do and more, because when you go out shopping you always want more, right? So you also have to give more in return, and not just to yourself, to your parents, most importantly, to your family, because they come first, because I'm sure this pandemic has made all of you realize what is important and what is not, and what we were running after is suddenly not so important anymore. And what we were neglecting all our lives is suddenly the most important thing, which is your own health, your own mental health, and so on and so forth. So it is very, very important that you learn and evolve each and every day and do stuff for yourself. But at some point of time, if every one of you contributes one little small thing every day to a nation building cause, I think our nation will be a better place in the future. So that is the kind of dedication and hard work that is expected out of all of you today and beyond. You have a live example of your alumni sitting here, who was a part of your college and your alma mater, and now he is at the biggest position in his field. You have another example of Tejdeep ma'am, whose grit and determination, has motivated so many women to take up and come into the police force and to excel in all walks of life. So I don't think that motivation is the challenge. I think, applying and practical application is something that you should focus on, and try and see how you can make the world a better place to live in with your contribution, which is what we also strive every day to achieve. And I will not take long. I will just end by saying a small quote कि तकाजा है वक्त का कि तूफान से लड़ना है. Everyone understands, right? हैदराबादी में बोलूं. तकाजा है वक्त का कि तूफान से लड़ना है, कब तक चलोगे किनारे किनारे. So what I mean to say is that when you know you have to fight and you have to excel, then why hold yourself and stop, Spread your wings and fly. All the best and take care and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for inspiring us with your motivational speech. Thank you once again. I would now request Mr. Srikant Surampudi, sir, to please address the gathering.
A very good afternoon to everyone. And before I start, I just want all of us to know that how life can throw some sudden challenges in your journey. Since all of you are, on the threshold of going into a great future, and there are a lot of people who come on this side and give a lot of, inputs on how things should be. I would like to walk you through a very real-time situation, my situation in the current program. Just imagine my situation, okay? I am sitting with one of the most, powerful and achieved people on the dais. On one side, there's somebody who is giving a lot of protection. So there is a police department head on the dais, something for me to worry about. And then beside me is a shooting expert and who's won gold medals. And on the other side, on my left, is a person whose name is the Home Minister of the country. So imagine my situation. I am sitting on the dais where I am surrounded with a lot of high pressure, highly powerful people. And then on the extreme right is a gentleman whose name starts with Z, but he is an A to Z of management. And I was actually praying that I wish I am the first one to be called to speak so that I finish off, because there's not much from me to offer, because there's so much of achievement and success that the others have with them that they will share with you. And then I realized they went by the left to right and first called Gagan. So I said, and his name has a gun in it. Yeah. Okay. So life throws sudden challenges. That's what I thought I should share with you. It's not going to be a bed of roses. It's not going to be a path so smooth that you think it is going to be. And that is where we need to rise up to the occasion. When you have started your journey and all the management theories and philosophies that we have read and all the case studies that we go through give us a lot of learning. But situations like this also throw up a sudden challenge on us as to where we are, and suddenly how lucky you are in certain situations. And this is where I think I am very fortunate to be part of a leadership pool there who's so achieved. I was just mentioning to both ma'am and to Gagan that it's an honor to even stand beside them. I wouldn't have even imagined doing this all through. And amongst the audience also we have some very distinguished people. Mr. Amarnath K. Menon. My childhood, every time I used to read India Today, all through, there are only two things that always remain in my mind. Page 3, where I used to always look at Hyderabad, Amarnath K. Menon, and last at the back cover was Bajaj ad. These two things always remain with me. And sir, it's an honor to again meet you as well. So I will take a few minutes because I have to also show that there is, the great group that I'm part of. I thought I should share a few pointers which might help us, because it has helped me a lot in my journey in TCS, being part of the Tata Group, where values and ethics are part of the DNA of the organization, of the group, and it automatically gets imbibed into all of us in the journey. So I thought I will start off with, I'll just take one alphabet and then try to stitch it together. So I'll start off with an alphabet H. There is a clear, picture in front of you of people who have come up in life because of pure hard work. Come what may, whatever is going to support you around you as an ecosystem, hard work can never be replaced. And you have a living example in Ma'am and Gagan and Amit over here. All three showing you as examples on various fields that you can be successful in. And all of us who are management graduates need not necessarily be only in a professional, private industry environment. We can always give back to society in various formats, and they are inspirations for that. So hard work, and as we are in a, as Sir rightly said, we are just at the, around the corner of overcoming the pandemic. I think health is most important. We have all realized something that we have always taken for granted has become prime for all of us. So stay healthy and ensure that you are keeping your surroundings healthy as well, because as they say, a healthy environment also is required for us to grow. Then the other H I thought I should touch upon is honesty. Honesty and integrity. I always keep telling this example. If you're going on a road at this time, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and there is a traffic signal and you see a red light and you stop your car, say, let's call it honesty. Exactly 12 hours from now, 12 at midnight, if you're going on the road and you see a red signal, and if you stop your car, that's integrity. Because nobody is asking you, there's no police over there. It's your own integrity which is making you to follow a particular rule. That's why they say honesty and integrity go together. So the other H, which is very important for us in life, is honesty. It's not easy to follow, but once you follow it, there's no looking back. And as you grow in your life, with a lot of hunger that you have, which helps you to always stay active and always wanting to achieve more, always remember that humility comes with that hunger. As you grow higher and higher, you have to stay humble. That humility is one attribute, a value system that is taught here, taught from your own faculty here, taught at home by your parents. So that's something that you always carry with you. Next, I move to an alphabet E. The word excellence comes to my mind. When somebody asks you, how are you doing? You say, great. We say, great. Yeah, I'm good. I'm great. Very rarely we come across people who say, I'm excellent. The moment you use the word excellent for yourselves, you have reached a level where you know why you're using it. So aim at that excellence. You're now at a point where along with you, a few lakh students are also having their convocations, or they've just graduated, they've got into a professional environment. But what cuts you apart from them is that excellence that you can look at. So aim at that excellence and bring in an elevation to this education that you've got. And as I spoke of honesty, I think a very important attribute is the ethics that we follow. That's what is taught here. That's what is also taught at home, in school. But living those values is what ethics is all about. So doing the right thing and doing things right. Something very important for all of us to remember. And then I move to another alphabet called A. The word attitude comes to my mind. And we've all grown up saying, hearing that attitude is the altitude and all. But suddenly in the recent few years, I am seeing all these Netflix or all whatever web series that we see. Suddenly they say, kya attitude hai? That's one way of looking at it. Hey, boss, bahut attitude dikha raha hai. So what is the meaning of attitude is gone now. I would rather want you to know that the attitude towards work and life is what determines your future. So you should always keep an attitude which is very positive. And there's a very thin line between having an attitude and being arrogant. So success brings that difference. So even when you are successful, just look at Gagan, the way he just connected with you immediately. At his level, if he throws an attitude, that line that crosses gets visible. But he, being so humble, got so visible. I mean, you have an example in front of you of whatever words I am using. So just try to relate, and you will know how you can connect with people and how you can continue to imbibe these attributes. And then, like situations like this, where you have to, a situation that I faced just now, I think we all will get into. Suddenly you will be thrown up in sitting with your CEO or with the director, and you're not even aware of it. I'm sure Amit would have had multiple such situations. The first time is very different, very difficult. So how do you apply your mind? Application of your mind, your thoughts, your ideas, how do you make yourself also show your presence over there, makes all the difference. And then I move to the letter R. A value system that we have learned and lived in TCS, I'm very proud to share that, is respect for individual. We follow that by the book and we live our values. That's what we do, and I'm proudly sharing it. And it's not that we do it only in the Tatas or TCS. It's something that all of us normally do. I'm only reviving it so that you continue to do it. Because respecting an individual, a small example, you have seen Mr. Ratan Tata traveling all the way from Mumbai to Pune recently to meet an ailing, retired employee of the Tata Group. It just shows the kind of respect that a person of that level has towards an employee who is retired as well. So that is what the humility, respect for individual, all these are value systems which get displayed. So look at workplace. You have this. Somebody is doing well, somebody is not doing well, you are doing well, somebody is pulling you back. But that doesn't mean that you have to be rude to somebody or you have to disrespect someone. You continue to do what you're doing good. That's where you always stand apart from others. And something, honestly, let me be frank, the millennial generation is all about instant likes, instant gratification. This is what oldies feel. Suddenly I am feeling much older now. But resilience is a word that I feel personally that is missing amongst the millennial generation, because you're getting everything immediately, right? When I was telling my son who's 12 years old that we are trying to buy a flat, so he asked me, we are already living in a house, no, Dad, why are we buying another flat? I said, it's for the future. For what? So the way he was asking is, then I realized, you want food, there is Swiggy. You want to travel, there is Uber. You want to go and stay in some place, there is Airbnb. So the need is not being really reflecting on the way the person's approaches. So, but still coming back, resilience is something which is very important for this generation. You will not get likes in your career instantaneously at all. Please be aware of this. You might get, but you will not always get. If somebody is not appreciating you, don't get disheartened. Because they are not waiting to appreciate you. They are watching you. It's a journey. You have got into a journey. You can't, it's like a train journey from one destination till the end. But you can't, just because you sat in the train, somebody says, yeah, you sat well. You stood up and you're in front of the mirror, oh, you're looking at your mirror, very nice. You won't get likes. So be resilient to what is happening around you. And then continuously review what you're doing and reorient yourselves, because when you reimagine workspaces, today we are all talking about reimagination of workplaces, reimagination of work environments itself. Policies are being changed to suit people who are working from home. So there is a lot of reimagination happening. So be always constantly doing a review of yourselves. And then, but that should never bring down the rigor of effort that you're putting in. I might be taking a little time, but I thought I should be sharing all these which could be useful to, if you can relate with what I'm talking of. Then I move to the last part, an alphabet T. So have a target in mind. To reach that target, have mentors, have inspirations like this in your life. Understand how they have made it to where they are. the moment I was sitting there, I heard ma'am's particular poem that is being quoted in IIM Ahmedabad. The moment I heard, I said, I have to read it. How did I miss it? So that's what I felt. I want all of you to think that if success stories like these are in front of us, these people are such inspirations for us. There are many more also that you have to keep reading about. Read about Jack Ma, read about Jeff Bezos, or read about our own autobiographies of multiple leaders in the world. Because when you read autobiographies, you get to know a lot. So I made this year as an year where I wanted to read autobiographies of successful people. It gives you a fantastic insight. Yesterday I was hearing somewhere that why is it that there are so many startups in California, in San Jose? Because they celebrate even a failure of a startup over there. So startup being successful, it will anyway reach everyone. But celebrating a failure of a startup itself is also an inspiration for them. So look at how you want to look at failure as well. And because it's very important. You will fail. We should all fail to succeed in future. And we will not have a great run through always in life. 89 matches that Sachin played to hit his first century in 1 day. And then there was no looking back. But 89 matches, the entire country was waiting. We were always supporting. So there will be a support system that will be around you when you're working hard in your regular professions. So wait for that moment and continue to do good. And then something which all of us are known for, temper. Everybody gets upset for everything nowadays. I don't know, be it on the road or be it a smallest thing, all expletives being used, usage of words which are not required, and the way we react. I don't think it is required. You have to lose your temper only when it is required, not for everything. So have that fire in you which works hard to succeed, but at the same time keeps you also on the ground. That's very important. And work towards a transformational journey where you are learning and doing something new. I was just thinking, take the example of Gagan. He fell down from his cycle while in the middle of his practice, and his right wrist is injured, broken. He had a bandage on it, and he could not go for practice. But what happened? Next day morning, he goes for practice, removes the bandage, and goes and practices. That is the determination with which you need to work. It's such an inspiration, Gagan. So nice to know about this. And why I'm saying transformational is you have to just step out from your comfort zone. Take the example of ma'am. I was just talking to Professor Jitender. The lake cleaning activity. From my childhood, I've been hearing about tank bund being cleaned. And we know how it is. 8 lakes, she ensured that, you saw the picture, right? She got there on the ground and did it. So leadership is all about taking that step and dirtying your hands. Only then. Leader is not a person who sits and gives directions. There's a difference between a commentator in cricket who tells this should have been done like this should have been, and a player. You be the player to be a leader. So that's where you are. You are the players now. Get into the field, dirty your hands, make mistakes, learn, but don't repeat those mistakes. So this journey has to be a transformational one. So I'm just trying to stitch all these together. I started with an H, then an E, then an A, then an R, and a T. So have a heart to do things. जो भी करेंगे दिल से करेंगे एकदम हैदराबादी है we are all Hyderabadis, proud Hyderabadis. We'll do it with a lot of heart because only the heart knows what is the right thing we are doing. So stick to that. I don't want to take too much. I know I've taken a lot of time, but I thought I should bring it up. The sudden challenges in life that you are thrown upon. And I'm worried now. I'm again going back. So now they are waiting. So you have a namesake of Home Minister sitting there next. So he said, "Arey kitna bakoge yaar? Aao, mera chance hai abhi." Yeah. And then I thought we should just be relevant with what is happening in the world outside. Stay relevant. And today, the last 1 year in the world has redefined the way people upskill themselves. So learn, unlearn and relearn. Only then we will stay relevant, because the pace at which change is happening today in the world is something that we cannot miss out or cannot ignore. You are either in the race where you are there like Amit sitting there and everybody is clapping for you, or you end up just clapping for somebody who keeps on going there. So you decide where you want to be. And I am very sure students of ICBM are going to reach the top. You have an example here already. Yeah. And you have a great management team, very passionate, very dedicated. So you have a responsibility now on your shoulders. One, to show up what your parents have taught you all your life, to your school and your college, because you have now moved into, you have crossed the threshold of being a student. So there is a responsibility on your shoulders, on your behavior, in the way you lose your temper, in the way you show attitude, the way you work hard and succeed. You might not be great success stories, but don't be bad examples. Just remember that always. And I'm very sure you will reach the skies because of hard work that you do and from the college that you've passed out from. Even when you touch the sky, remember that your feet should always be on the ground. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening and motivating our students with real-time examples. I would now invite Mr. Amit Shah, sir, to address the gathering.
So, good afternoon, friends. I think, first of all, thank you to the management of ICBM, for inviting me for this occasion. I'm quite happy and glad for the same. So, you would have heard that, some assistant director has come and all those things. So, I think 18 years back, I was one among you. And I think a notorious student, which Jitu sir and Zara used to always call me. And the maximum of, I think, beatings, not in terms of real one, but I would have had in that batch at least. So, nothing great about all this achievement, frankly. You just be yourself and, do what you want to do, frankly. At the outset, firstly, I would like to congratulate all of you. It's a great day for you all. And celebrate. Frankly speaking, I would like to, talk little, I'll be a little different in terms of management and all those things, so sorry. We in India as a culture, frankly, we are a little miser on celebrations. Not in terms of money and all those things. If parties, shadis and all those vagera, we spend, in lakhs and crores. But we don't celebrate our small achievements. So that's more important for, you to do that. What happens? What happens when you celebrate? Can anybody help me out? What happens when you celebrate? Why you celebrate actually? Celebration, makes your mind happy. That's more important. Celebration, gives you confidence. Celebration also tells you that, okay, you have achieved something and you need to pat yourself now. So smaller the achievement, we feel, okay, it's out of question and we don't have to, celebrate or, share all these things. We do it on WhatsApp, somebody is doing on our behalf. But frankly, that's not the way. You celebrate small events. We should learn the celebration, small achievement, all those things from Western culture, frankly. They celebrate every small event. What happens once you are happy, you are live, you are fully charged up. Once you are charged up and happy mind, they always say it is more effective and efficient. Once you are effective and efficient, things will come out from your heart, and the outcome, the result will be what you want to give to the society, what you want to give to your organization, what you actually want to do. So don't pressurize yourself. Let's celebrate yourself with small achievement. That's more important. That's my point number 1 for you all. So, आज आपका celebration day है, right? Have you decided anything? Or just SMS करेंगे, mom, dad and all those things, we got the degree, photo, and that's it. Make this event so prominent that it registered and remember forever. Whenever at the, during your last breath of your life, frankly, whenever you cherish this moment, you should feel, proud about yourself. That's more important. Every small thing matters for us. It's not only about big achievements. So please celebrate all the small achievements in your life. Secondly, I would also like to emphasize because we are amidst globalization now, and very regularly we hear that globalization brings lots of distress, right? And I hear this from students as well as in our organizations and from lot many places where I go. That's the only thing which globalization actually brought. Globalization brought many things, right? Globalization brought prosperity. It got better opportunity for all of us to succeed, right? So let us see this in a better way. And when it comes to distress, I think antidote was much prepared in advance. I think 200, 300 years back. So why it is stress? Why you people feel stress? You well, students, I'm sure you also would be using the word stress, right? When some homework is being given or some presentation is being asked, and we strive here and there, run pillar to post. But why distress? Why are we feeling all these things? Only two things, I think. Adoption of change. We are not adopting the change as per the requirement of environment. That's more important. Once you are into it, I think there is no stress at all. And even if it is a stress, it is to the tune of maybe 25 to 30%, your body is prone to it. So you don't have to worry on that. Second is, I think, discipline. Frankly, if you ask me, we are losing on the basics of discipline background, and frankly, what our culture has taught, our parents has taught, our earlier school teachers used to taught us. What is discipline? Getting right, getting right in time in the morning, reach office in time. Why we have placed, school time, office time, and all those things. So it's more about discipline, to have a time for food, have a time for play, have a time for work and everything. Once we don't do that, I think we are stressed. If things goes in time, we are not stressed at all. There is a time for everything, and I think if you do so, I don't think you will always be under stress. So please, I would rather say let's not use this word called stress, because stress is something which spreads negativity, and it's actually an incapability of individual, frankly, to this thing. So let's not use this word called stress anymore. I don't know whether you all have heard the phrases of Rabindranath Tagore. He always used to say, he has got many this thing, but his famous phrase was, it is quite, very simple to be happy, but it is difficult to be simple. So it took almost a decade for me to understand, what the in-depth meaning of this phrase. So what has happened? Now, we always say the world has become complex. It is encircled by a lot of gadgets, technologies, competition, and rigorous changes and all those things, right? So you go all through all these things, right? And what we have done? We have done a simple, juggle of, words. They always used to say that, you should love people and things are to be used. We have just changed two words. We are using people and loving gadgets. So that's how I think that's the second this thing. It's better if you, love people, understand people you work with, you are surrounded by, give importance to them. It's more important. If you are through with this, I think you don't have to read almost all 600 plus books which are being written on team management. You are through with this. You just have to understand that world is for people, by the people, okay, and not for artificial intelligence and all those things. Those are the things which we just have to use and throw. Okay, success will come to us for sure. Last thing, I know, I think you'll be bored if we keep talking on. And when I was I think I always have idealism and ambition, frankly. We never had this kind of convocation ceremony and all those things in our time, but we always have, and the last day was there, so I always felt that, okay, I have a lot of idealism and ambitions in my life, okay, and I'm sure you also must be having the same. It took almost 5-6 years to understand where I went wrong, okay, because I was in deep trouble with these two words, and I was actually not getting to it. I was not using both the things in a proper manner, or maybe, a proper mixture. And that's how it took almost 5-6 years. Otherwise, I would have, gone ahead a little more, in life from today where I am. So it is always better to have idealism and your ambition in a proper mixture. Okay, so that's all from my end. Thank you and all the best for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with your valuable inputs. I would now request Tezdeep ma'am to please address the gathering.
Listen to me carefully. All those who are passing out today, please stand up. Switch off your cell phones. Put them inside your pockets. This management has gone out of its way to arrange this convocation for you. And many of you are busy on your cell phones. Many of you are not even sitting upright. Children, Google search will give you information, but that is not knowledge. The wisdom you can get from these three wise men here, you will not get in Google search. Sit down. Be here, be in this moment. It's your convocation, it's not mine. I never had a convocation, I never went to college. I'm only a BCom graduate. I didn't have the opportunity. With the oldest of three girls, and my mother was paranoid about me getting married. She said, "Nahi, we can't send you, we can't wait for you to study further." I said, "Give me a year. Let me appear." I wanted to be an IPS officer like my grandfather. My grandfather was a police officer in Pakistan and then in Punjab. I said, "I want to be like Dada. I want to be like Dadaji. Give me an opportunity." They said, 1 year. The first year I didn't make it. They said, "No." Then, we had these people coming into wanting to see me, to marry me, the elders arranging all these matrimonial alliances. And then I ran away from that. I said, "No, give me 1 more year." In that 1 year, I never saw the sunlight. I only knew the moon was there up in the sky, and I was sitting on my balcony studying with cups of water with ice in it and hankies dipped in, wiping my eyes to be awake, and quickly bridging the gap between a BCom graduate and a postgraduate in psychology and history. And I made it. Every month on the 15th, the principal called me to her office in school or college and said, "Tezdeep, your fees has not come, and the fees of your sisters." I said, "It will come. My father will come. Before school closes, he will bring my fees." And my father came. We had no money. My parents were refugees from Pakistan. They had no money. They had nothing. But they had confidence, grit, determination, and they set up home in a land which was not their home, in Hyderabad. My father was a tall, smart Sikh, like the gentleman here, turbaned. My mother was a Sardarni. But Hyderabad is home. Not only was I born here, my granddaughter is also born here. Caste, community, religion is reinforced in us by selfish politicians. It's not important. My daughter-in-law is a Tamil Iyer girl. And my granddaughter has spent most of her life and her 4 years in Mumbai. So where is this? It's seamless. My husband is a Malayali, Amarnath Menon. I'm a Sardarni. It's not important. Is it important? Do not give it any importance. Give value a person for what he or she is. Love each other like you have never loved before, you are never going to love again, and like today is the last day on earth. We really don't know how long we live. I had a beautiful little daughter. She died at the age of 10. She had a brain tumor. She was blind for 2.5 years. So in all of you, I see a lot of promise. Those of us on this side would give anything and everything in the world to give away these red cloaks and get into your black convocation dress. Yes or no? Just anything to rub the slate of life and to start writing again, to learn the ABC again, to learn Jack and Jill again, to sing Sabzi Wala Aya, Dhobi, Kapde Saaf and all that again and again and again. Because somewhere in our hearts, in our minds, we have not lived our lives in the best manner we should have. We never realized the opportunities that came our way. We stood at crossroads and took a wrong turn, or we banged into the wrong cars, or we didn't follow the signals, or we let time go by, not resting, enjoying the moment. So therefore, you are in a very enviable position. You are where none of us can be. And you all have the potential to surpass what we have done. We've done nothing, we've achieved nothing in this big cosmos. When I look at my life, my biodata may read like a big story. But when I look at my life, I think, and when I have to grade myself, I start saying Tejdeep, D for donkey, O for donkey, Donkey. Why did you not do this? Why did you not work harder? Why did you not laugh a little more? Why didn't you spend a little more time with your friends? Why did you lose the phone number of your old friend? Why did you connect with your cousin who was in trouble? Why didn't you reach out and help? We may be in TCS, IPS, whatever, but the sum total of us is how much you are loved by those around you and how much you love them. How much you return to Mother Earth and how much you have drawn from it. I see young people today, I don't generalize and apologize if you are not what I'm talking about, are not really concerned about many, many issues in the world. I want to make my fast buck, I want to buy my car, I want to travel, I want to see Spain, then I want to go to Costa Rica, and then I want to come back to Thailand. Fine. Do you know the environment around you? Do you know how much that needs you? Is this world a better place because you were born, you are here, you've grown up, you're educated? How much your parents have poured into you, your elders have poured into you, given to you, their time, their life. How many breakfasts have gone waste? How many lunch boxes you've not eaten from? Will you be ever able to return this love and affection to your parents? Do you often think about them? Do you often think about them? You must. You will go away, you will start a family of your own and have a nuclear family and live by yourself. What about these elderly people? Who will take care of them? You see, there was this one big entity which I know and which my generation experienced, and before me, Mother. She spread love. She was selfless. She sacrificed. She was all encompassing. She took care of your tears, your needs, your sweat, everything. That person is not going to be there in your life anymore. You are going to step away into a world of your own. But you should remember, you, whether man or woman, has to spread that love. You have to take the place of your mother in your lives. You have to mother the others. And in that, it's a very generic term. You have to nurture the poor, the disabled. We call them challenged, but actually they're totally disabled. You have to nurture the have-nots because you have. You have education with you. You have a job with you. You have a future with you. You have money with you. Not today, tomorrow. You have to nurture your environment, your younger siblings. You have to be their margadarshis. Who's going to show them their way? This huge banyan tree. You have to be a huge, huge banyan tree. You cut one branch, many live. The tree lives on. You have to live on. You have to be a legend in your lifetime. Become a legend. When you are away from A place, the people at A place should miss you, long for you, reach out to you. And when you reach B place, people there should welcome you. You should be a legend in your lifetime. Legends are not made. People become legends. You make your own stories. You grow in your stories. Your anthologies grow. Stories about you grow. People learn from you. People use you as examples. Life is not a bed of roses. Well, is it? Not at all. So tough, so difficult. You have to negotiate at every turn. But the important thing about life is it's there in your hands with you. For you to build it in the manner you want to build it. You are a rock face. You want to carve out a beautiful statue of Mona Lisa from that rock face or Michelangelo. Fine, go ahead and do it. And if you don't, you'll only be ruining that rock. Right? Children, you must learn to enjoy your lives. There is nothing like a woman task or a male task. There's nothing like chauvinism, male chauvinism or female chauvinism. Especially the pandemic has shown you men can be better cooks than women. And women can work from home. They already work from home. We all work from home. Office work from home, which is a new thing for women. You have to nurture a new generation. Your children, they're there. A decade later, many of you will be parents. And you have to nurture a new generation which doesn't go to war, but which is in love. Many of this generation that I see, especially my children, my own children, my daughter-in-law and my son, I call her daughter-in-love, they are extremely stressed. My son works 18 hours a day. Last 3 weeks they are in Hyderabad and I physically watch him. I take the juice to him, I take the fruit to him, I take the chai to him, I bring back the empty plate, I take the food to him. Seamlessly he works. He just doesn't stop. Similarly with my daughter-in-law. And then I watch them and I think, my God. But I also know one thing. After working so hard, when they finish, then they plan a great evening together when they sit down and play games with their little daughter. And they de-stress. And they cook. And they travel. They go to see the world. If it was not for the pandemic, they are 35. By 35, they had to see 35 countries. They say, what is all this wealth? We don't need all this wealth. We need a little money to be happy. We need to be happy today. And I like that. We need to be happy today. whichever way. You know, there were days when we were young, we went on picnics with sandwiches and aloo parathas and samosas and jalebis, and we had great picnics. Our grandmothers made our achars and marabbas, and we ate, and we didn't worry about cholesterol and diabetes. But here you are, sitting on a table and a chair for hours together. You have L4 problem, L5 problem, you have this, you have that. We become overweight because we just don't have time to, use that energy this food can provide you. And then there is always Swiggy and Zomato, and there's food on your table whenever you want, whatever kind. Enjoy it. Enjoy Swiggy. Enjoy Luscious, whatever. But exercise. Go for a long walk. Connect with yourself. Enjoy this connection. Connect with those people around you. Enjoy that connection. Live a full life. At the end of it all, when we go, you know what people say? Arey Baba, he lived a great life. What great life? He didn't build a Taj Mahal. If you have Mumtaz Mahal is your 13th queen, and if you build a Taj Mahal for her, you can't fool me. Taj Mahal is not an epitome of love. It's an epitome of a harem. Love is total. Love is for once. Recently we went to the zoo, just last week. My husband, myself and the children. And we were so happy that we went to the zoo. At the end of it, both of us thank God for giving us an opportunity to go to the zoo. Can you believe it? To see those deer in those big enclosures. And we sat in the zookeeper's office and we ended up sponsoring a pair of pied hornbills. We paid 30,000 to give them a check and came for 1 year. Because we thought, we have to leave something. We took so much from the zoo. So much from these elephants, these giraffes, these crocodiles, these tortoises. We need to give something back to the zoo. Right? Simple pleasures of life. If you bake a cake and if you bake it well, it beats every damn cake on earth. You make a halwa, you make it well, you make it. Men, the boys, you make a chutney. Don't let life make a chutney out of you. That's what's happening. Life is stressful. Children, sleep well. How many hours of sleep do you need? 8, and on weekends 12. Sleep well. Don't keep your cell phones next to you. Keep them away. Silence them. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your presence on earth. It will be over too quickly. It will just all be over. And then you will say, there was that old lady, she came and told us a few things. Right? This whole thing about being man, about being woman, men have a responsibility. What is that responsibility? Taking care of women. Because for centuries, women have been oppressed. They've not been able to spread their wings and fly in the open. And now they've started. This whole thing about sexual harassment, how unnecessary it is. I am the first complainant in the country when the cyber crime laws came into being. I used to receive obscene mail from a guy, I don't know who, from a person, somebody, and we didn't know who it was. And this is in 2003. And those days I was very busy. I was in traffic police and I was Additional Commissioner of Traffic, Hyderabad City. So I told my husband, I haven't checked my mail for the last few days. Can you do it? He was the F&B manager of a Taj group of hotels, Mahabalipuram. in Mahabalipuram, where I had gone to Pondicherry ashram to read poetry at the ashram on their invitation with my husband. I made one halt that evening at Mahabalipuram at the Taj Hotel. It was my husband's gift to me because he had a conclave there and he loved that place and he wanted to show it to me. Morning we left. I came in a police car, I went in a police car, and he knew I was a cop. But he still dared to send me that mail, and he did it for fun. Young man, father of a 6-month-old child, and he was in jail. And it took 10 years to resolve that case. It did end in acquittal because perhaps he managed at various levels. You see, it was very unnecessary. If I did not have a loving and a caring husband, it would go the other way. It could lead to a deep misunderstanding. Then I went on to register one more case when there was a guy, he sent me hair. Huge letters, huge parcels I would get of long hair and short. I used to have long hair and short hair, my hair, your hair, tied up. And ultimately we tracked him, we arrested him, he was 62. Then his wife and son came and begged. They came to my husband's office and begged him and said, he's an idiot. We don't know why our father's done it. He's 62. Can you help? So then we found a way out, and then in court, the PP said that he was mentally ill. So he was sent to the mental hospital for 6 months instead of being given a jail imprisonment. Now tell me, is it necessary? Isn't it a waste of time at all ends, at all levels? It really has not traumatized me in any way. But for those girls who bear the brunt of sexual harassment, it is a scar for life. So boys, you needn't do it. There's a huge world, is a huge place. You don't have to harass somebody. You also have to go on the extra mile to understand that all over the world, paternity leave is not given to men to sit down and ask for endless cups of chai from the wife. It is given to help the wife bring up a newborn baby. Right? And babies have to grow up in your arms, in your hands. Babies don't grow up on cots in the lap of ayahs. They grow up in the arms of their parents. That's how we all grew up. Annaprasna is not only in the temple. After that, the father and the mother give the child dahi chawal, ghee rice, day after day. The child refuses to eat. It takes hours to feed a child. And all this should be in your mind when you look at your old father in need of dentures, your mother in need of perhaps a hearing aid. You take them to the doctor, don't snap at them. I never had Paytm or Google Pay. Just now in this visit, the children have put it on my phone. Mom, you're so backward. You don't have Paytm, you don't have... So you don't do online shopping. I said, no, I don't. I like to go and feel my cloth. I like to see my sari and then buy it. So the world has changed. Understand that we are not able to cope with this change, or maybe we don't feel the need for the change. So take us with you. After all, child is father of man. Take us with you. Hold our hands. Why do we need these homes for the elderly? Why are you there? Why do your parents name their children Srinivasa? Lord's name. Venkateshwara, Lord's name. Everybody, every Indian name is from the Lord himself. Lakshmi, Varalakshmi. Everybody is God, goddess. So there is some investment already made in you even before you're born. So return, that ROI should be good. Right. So we have a great future. We have a great time before us. We have, that song, I don't know if you ever heard it, Nanne Munne Bacche Tere. Let me hear you. मुट्ठी में क्या है? मुट्ठी में है तकदीर हमारी. Right? So we step out into this world with a clean slate, with a lot of hope in our hearts, joy. And if you temporarily don't feel happy where you are, change your place. You have that advantage. I served the police for 38 years. I never needed to change. I loved my job. In fact, it was so fulfilling, I couldn't think beyond it. Today, if I have to look for a job, I may not find a job like that. It was such a romanticized job. It was a job where I have 20 to 30 children called Tejdeep. Teja Deepa, Tejdeep, Tej, Sai Teja, all Amma's name, Amma's name, Amma's name. I have boys who are called Tejdeep. I had a junior world champion called Adballa Tejdeep. He's a boy, he's a young man. So, there's nothing like that. There's no end to it. You are a star in your own right. You're a superstar, you're a rock star. It's up to you as to how you rub yourself and burnish bright. Thank you for this opportunity. I thank my buddy, Shri Jitendra Govindani, who has cleaned many a lakes for me, shares my passion for wildlife. For getting me here, I came out in spite of many odds. My mother's critically ill, and the children are here. I came out because I knew I had to speak to all of you. I am a postman, see my red color, or a Santa Claus. But what I delivered, that letter to each one of you, personally and privately, is important. Keep that letter with you. My email address is tejdeepbirds@gmail.com, birds, tejdeepbirds@gmail.com. Anywhere, anytime you have an issue, I promise you I will respond to you. Thank you. God bless you.